Welcome to Senior Care Insights, your dedicated channel for all things health and well-being as we age.
Great to be here.
We often hear about different populations around the world who seem to have, cracked the code to a long and healthy life.
Hmm.
And one country that consistently comes up is Japan. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What are they doing differently?
It really does.
So today we're diving deep into the secrets of Japanese longevity, exploring everything from their daily habits to broader cultural influences, to see what insights we can maybe glean for your own well-being.
It's truly fascinating when you look at the numbers. Japan boasts a remarkable number of people living very long and, importantly, healthy lives.
Right, healthy lives.
When you see such a significant portion of the population thriving well into their advanced years, it naturally sparks curiosity about the underlying factors at play.
Okay, so let's start with something we all interact with multiple times a day. Food. It seems like in Japan, their approach to eating goes beyond just, sustenance.
Absolutely. The traditional Japanese diet is built around fresh, largely unprocessed ingredients.
Okay.
And it tends to be naturally lower in calories and fat compared to many Western diets.
Right.
Think about their staples. Plenty of fish, often rich in those beneficial omega-3 fatty acids we hear so much about for heart health, alongside rice, whole grains, tofu, soybeans, miso, seaweed, and a wide variety of colorful vegetables.
That sounds pretty good.
And interestingly, they traditionally consume very little red meat. This kind of nutritional profile naturally leads to lower levels of saturated fat and sugar, while providing a wealth of essential vitamins and minerals, a powerful combination for long-term health.
And it's not just what's on their plate, but also how they approach eating itself, isn't it?
Exactly.
I've read about this concept of harahachibu. What's the significance of that?
Harahachibu is such a fundamental aspect. It's the practice of stopping eating when you feel about 80% full.
80%. Okay.
It's a mindful approach, often taught from childhood, and its impact is significant. It prevents overtaxing the digestive system, helps your body register satiety cues more effectively over the long term,
Right.
and can even improve how your body absorbs nutrients.
And the way meals are structured probably helps too.
Definitely. With smaller portions served in individual dishes, it also naturally supports this more measured way of eating.
What's really interesting to me is the prominence of fermented foods in their traditional meals. It feels like more than just a culinary tradition.
You're right to highlight that. Foods like miso, soy sauce, natto, and various pickled vegetables, kimono, nukazuke, are dietary staples.
Right, natto is interesting.
It can be an acquired taste,
Mm.
but these foods are rich in probiotics, which we now understand play a crucial role in gut health.
Yeah, we hear a lot about the gut microbiome now.
Exactly. And a healthy gut can have far-reaching benefits, impacting digestion, immune function, and even potentially influencing mental well-being. The fermentation process itself also generates beneficial bioactive compounds.
And then there's the ubiquitous green tea. It seems like such a constant presence in Japanese daily life. What's the story there in terms of longevity?
Oh, green tea is indeed more than just a drink. It's steeped in history and health benefits. It's packed with powerful antioxidants, particularly catechins.
Yeah, catechins, okay.
These compounds have been linked to boosting the immune system, offering protection against certain cellular damage, supporting healthy digestion, and even potentially contributing to cardiovascular health.
So quite a few benefits.
Yes, and some large-scale studies in Japan have even suggested a correlation between regular green tea consumption and a lower overall risk of mortality, what they call all-cause mortality.
Wow. Now, zooming in a bit, the diet of people in Okinawa seems to be particularly noteworthy. It's often cited in discussions about longevity zones. What makes it so special?
The traditional Okinawan diet really amplifies many of the healthy aspects of the broader Japanese diet, almost taking it to another level.
How so?
Overwhelmingly plant-based. Over 90% of calories often come from vegetables and beans, with a real emphasis on purple and orange sweet potatoes. They're a staple there.
You eat potatoes.
Very little fish, meat, or dairy compared even to mainland Japan.
Wow.
And what's striking is that Okinawans who adhere to this traditional way of eating have shown remarkably lower rates of several chronic diseases, heart disease, certain cancers compared to many other populations, like in the U.S.
And they practice harahachibu too?
Oh, yes. Just like in other parts of Japan, that principle of stopping before you're full is a key part of their eating habits.
So it's clear that diet is a huge piece of this longevity puzzle. But what about how active people are in Japan? Does that play a significant role.
Absolutely. An active lifestyle is another crucial element. You can't really separate them.
Right.
The practice of Rahyo Taiso, for instance, it's a morning exercise program broadcast on the radio, and it's been around since 1928, I believe.
Wow, nearly a century.
Yeah, it's a fascinating example of how movement is integrated into daily life. It's a shared cultural activity that people of all ages participate in.
So it's communal as well.
Very much so. And beyond this specific program, Japan has also developed urban environments that really encourage walking as a primary mode of transportation.
Yeah.
Things are often closer, public transport's excellent. It's just easier to be active in daily life.
You know, something that often comes up when discussing health in Japan is their healthcare system. It sounds quite different from what many of us might be used to.
Yes, their healthcare system is quite notable. They have a universal health insurance system, making medical care very accessible and affordable.
How affordable?
Well, the government typically covers 70% of medical costs, and that can go up to 90% for those with lower incomes.
That's significant.
It really is.
Mm.
And this ease of access contributes to people visiting doctors more frequently, apparently around 13 times a year on average, often for routine checkup.
13 times, wow.
Yeah, which allows for earlier detection and management of potential health issues, catching things early.
Makes sense.
There's also a strong emphasis on preventative care, with widespread health screenings conducted in schools, workplaces, and communities. Plus, annual health questionnaires that sort of nudge people towards health consciousness.
Promoting personal responsibility, too.
Exactly.
It also seems like their cultural values around family and community support play a big role, especially for older adults.
That's a deeply important aspect, yes. There's a strong cultural norm of caring for elderly family members within the family unit.
So multi-generational households are common.
More so than in many Western countries, yes. It's common for older generations to live with their children and grandchildren, which provides significant social and emotional support.
That must have huge psychological benefits.
Absolutely. These strong family bonds have clear psychological benefits that contribute to overall well-being and likely longevity.
Mm-hmm.
And in regions known for longevity like Okinawa, the strong sense of community and sharing is really valued. It connects back to that concept of ikigai.
Ah, yes, ikigai. We should talk more about that. But first, we can't ignore the role of our genes, right? Are there any specific genetic factors that might contribute to the longevity seen in the Japanese population?
Well, research does suggest that certain genetic predispositions may play a role in some Japanese populations.
Like what?
Studies have identified specific genes, I think DNA genes 5178 and ND2237 MET have been mentioned, that appear to be associated with a lower risk of certain age-related diseases like stroke and cardiovascular disease.
Okay.
However, it's really important to remember that genetics is just one piece of a much larger, more complex picture. Lifestyle factors are hugely influential.
Right, nature and nurture working together. So this idea of ikigai that you mentioned, especially in the context of Okinawa, sounds really profound. Can you elaborate on what that means in their daily lives?
Ikigai is often translated as your reason for being or your reason for getting out of bed in the morning.
A sense of purpose.
Exactly. Your life's purpose or joy. It's about finding meaning in your daily activities, having somebody to look forward to, contributing in some way.
And that's strong in Okinawa.
Very much so.
Mm.
Deeply woven into the fabric of society there. The traditional Western idea of just stopping work completely at retirement might not even really exist for many.
So they stay active and engaged.
Yes, maintaining a sense of purpose and engagement in life, whether through hobbies, community work, family, or continuing some form of work, is believed to be a significant contributor to their long and fulfilling lifespans, living a positive, happy life.
It's also interesting to consider how historical and even governmental decisions might have shaped the current health landscape in Japan. It's not just individual choices.
Absolutely, that's a critical layer.
Yeah.
Japan has a long history of prioritizing public health, going back centuries, actually.
Really?
Yeah, there's a text called Yojokun from way back in 1713 that advocated for lifestyle changes to prevent disease, an early form of lifestyle medicine.
Wow, ahead of its time.
Definitely. And more recently, government initiatives like ensuring low-cost health care, implementing those widespread health screenings we talked about, and enacting laws aimed at preventing chronic diseases have been crucial.
Any specific examples?
Well, they even have a system of culinary education called shokuku, aimed at promoting healthy eating from a young age. And there have been major public health campaigns addressing issues like high salt intake, which was historically linked to stroke rates, promoting healthy diets, physical activity, and smoking cessation.
So a real top-down effort, too.
Yes, and they even have workplace stress measuring systems in some cases. There was even a legal mandate introduced in 2002 suggesting citizens have a responsibility to maintain their own health. It shows a real focus on healthy and successful longevity, especially as their population ages.
It's quite comprehensive. We even have some insight into the dietary habits of a remarkable Japanese centenarian, Dr. Shigaki Hinahara, who lived to 105. His approach sounds surprisingly straightforward.
It really does. His diet, from what's reported, was characterized by simplicity and moderation, very much focused on fresh, natural foods.
What did he typically eat?
Apparently, breakfast was often coffee, milk, and maybe some orange juice with a bit of olive oil.
Olive oil, interesting.
Yeah. Lunch was often very light, maybe just milk and a few biscuits, or sometimes nothing if he was busy.
Okay.
Dinner was the main meal,
Yeah.
vegetables, bit of fish and rice, and only a small portion of lean meat, maybe twice a week. He also occasionally enjoyed a small amount of dark chocolate.
So moderation seems key.
Absolutely. And he was also a proponent of stopping eating before feeling completely full, that harahachibu again, and emphasized maintaining a healthy weight and choosing whole, unprocessed ingredients.
Sounds very sensible, really.
It does. Less about restriction, more about balance and quality.
And finally, we've touched on some interesting practices inspired by long-living Japanese scientists like autophagy and modified fasting. Can you briefly explain what those entail for our listeners?
Certainly, autophagy is essentially the body's natural process of cleaning out damaged cells and regenerating newer, healthier cells. It's kind of like cellular housekeeping.
Okay, self-cleaning.
Exactly. And it's believed to be triggered or activated by periods of fasting or other forms of mild controlled stress on the body.
So how does that translate into practice?
Well, some individuals inspired by this research have adopted modified fasting routines. This isn't necessarily traditional, but influenced by the science. For example, maybe having a light liquid breakfast like carrot or apple juice, perhaps skipping lunch entirely or just having black tea, maybe with some black sugar and ginger,
Right.
and then having one main solid meal, usually dinner, focusing on plant-based whole foods. And again, often adhering to that principle of harahachibu, eating until just 80% full.
So incorporating periods where the body isn't constantly digesting.
That seems to be the idea behind it, yes.
Yeah.
Giving the body a break to activate those cleaning processes.
This has been a truly illuminating look into the many facets of Japanese longevity. It's clear that it's not just one single thing, is it?
Not at all. It's really a beautiful interplay of diet, activity, healthcare access, strong community ties, cultural norms, and even that sense of purpose, the ikigai.
Yeah, it's systemic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The consistent themes we've seen are a focus on a balanced and nutritious diet. Lots of plants, fish, not too much processed stuff, mindful eating practices.
Like harahachibu.
Regular physical activity integrated into daily life, not necessarily intense gym sessions, but consistent movement.
Right.
Strong social connections, and a proactive approach to health and well-being, both personally and societally.
So as you're listening to this, maybe think about your own daily life. Could you perhaps incorporate more whole plant-based foods into your meals, maybe some more fish?
Or even just being more mindful about when you stop eating, tuning into those fullness cues a bit more.
Yeah, that's a practical one. Are there opportunities to increase your daily movement, even just walking more? Or maybe focus on strengthening your connections with your family or community?
These are just some of the key takeaways that you can consider applying to your own journey towards a healthier and hopefully longer life.
It really prompts you to think about what small, sustainable changes you could make that could have a significant impact on your long-term health and vitality. It doesn't have to be a massive overhaul.
No, small steps often lead to the biggest changes over time.
Well, we hope this deep dive has provided you with some valuable insights today.
Hope so too.
If you found this information helpful, please do give this video a like and maybe share it with others who might benefit.
Yeah, spread the word.
We also really encourage you to leave your thoughts and questions in the comments below. We genuinely love hearing from you and reading your perspectives.
We do.
And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to Senior Care Insights so you don't miss out on future discussions about healthy aging and related topics.
Definitely subscribe.
We look forward to continuing this important conversation with you all. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone.